I don't know what can really match Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 when it comes to just pure hype action, pound for pound.
But there is no real complaint that can be made that its action or its animation is anything less than top tier and some of the best the industry has ever seen. Full stop.
Wait. Oh! It was a clap! It was a clap!
There has never been a better shonen battle anime or manga than Jujutsu Kaisen. This is it, the pinnacle, peak shonen.
Have you ever wondered how some anime become so popular? How once every so often there will be an anime that gathers the attention of the entire community and fans from even outside of the anime community. Shows that become so big that they even just become part of regular everyday mainstream media and do incredibly well even outside of the anime echo chamber. These shows gather massive amounts of views and hype from everyone who watches them, and these shows are usually something much more special than your everyday show and only come around ever so often. I mention this because Jujutsu Kaisen is currently one of those shows. Jujutsu Kaisen is currently without a doubt one of the biggest anime / manga to come out in modern day media. The manga has grossed over 8.5 million copies in 2023, making it the second biggest selling manga of the year. The anime's most recent season just finished and had an average viewer count of over 6 million viewers, and that doesn't account for pirating or streaming. Those numbers are just purely from broadcasting TV in Japan, so that number can easily be doubled if not tripled. And with the show winning so many awards from Anime of the Year to almost really anything you can think of, it's clear that this show is exceptional. Jujutsu Kaisen has become the next big show in anime, and with the show's ever-growing hype, you can expect to see much more of the show in the coming years. However, due to the show's massive hype, many people have wondered why and just how Jujutsu Kaisen has become the phenom that it is in the industry, and if the hype is even deserved. So with that in mind, let's take a deep dive into just how and why Jujutsu Kaisen has become so popular as it is today, and see what's in store for the future of the series. Jujutsu Kaisen is a show that can best be described as brilliant, wacky, weird, hilarious, and even at times tear-jerkingly beautiful. However, to understand how and why the show has turned out to be the way it is and how it's become such a titan in the anime industry, we first need to turn our attention to the author of the title, as the author is arguably just as interesting, if not more, than the show. Gege Akutami is the name of the author for Jujutsu Kaisen, however very little is actually known about them. Firstly, Gege Akutami is just a pen name to keep their identity hidden. We don't know what Gege looks like or even their identity. While Gege Akutami has done interviews, anytime they appear for an interview they wear a Mechamaru cosplay to keep that identity entirely hidden. And we've yet to even hear what Gege sounds like. Many fans believe it to be true that Gege is that one-eyed cat that they use to portray themselves speaking in the manga, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say sadly that's not true. However, what we do know about Gege Akutami is that the manga author was born in 1992 on February the 26th in Iwate, Japan. Whilst it's unknown how long Gege has been creating and drawing manga for, we know that they have worked on other manga before Jujutsu Kaisen. Gege has worked on 3 different one-shot mangas prior to Jujutsu Kaisen. Their first was released in 2014, and then the second in 2015, and the third and final one-shot was in 2016. For those who do not know what a one-shot is in manga, a one-shot is basically created with the knowledge that there will be no continuation and that one chapter will be a one and done when the release is finished. One-shots are usually short yet interesting pieces of manga, and you will find that many of your own favourite authors have created many one-shots prior to them making their more extensive and ambitious projects that they are known for. I bring up Gege's prior work because it's so clear and just interesting to see how their style has evolved and how Gege's prior work has clearly inspired the Jujutsu Kaisen series we see today in 2024. Starting with the 2014 one-shot known as Kamishiro Sosa, this one-shot was clearly inspired and could be even argued to be the main manga that laid out the foundation for Curse Spirits and really the sort of style we see in Jujutsu Kaisen. Then onto the 2015 one-shot known as Number 9. This one-shot is about a boy who is trying to use his powers to achieve world peace. And what I think is interesting here is that not only are we again seeing Gege's affliction with cursed spirits and inhuman power, but the art style here is just so similar to Jujutsu Kaisen's, it's amazing to see. And also, whilst I was doing research for this video, so many people pointed out firstly just how much Gege's art had improved in years time, which is blatantly apparent, but also just how the main protagonist looks so similar to Itadori. Then finally onto his final one-shot, the 2016 one-shot known as, I'm not going to try and pronounce this, but you can see on the screen what it's called and look it up for yourself. However, this one shot is actually really interesting as it's about how mankind made a pact with God to stop using weapons on Earth. However, not long before this pact is made, monsters known as kaiju appear and attack the defenseless people on Earth. However, to combat these monsters, there is also another type of monster that can be controlled and piloted by humans known as Fukujin. And this one shot is about following the main protagonist Kento, who wants to pilot these beasts. This one shot is actually really cool, and more importantly, I think it's a safe bet to make that Gege had already started working on a much bigger project that we are all too far familiar with.
Yeah, boy.
As there is just so much in this small one shot that can really be said to have inspired Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, just look at the front cover, the style, the main character, the clothes the characters wear, the designs for the beast, the art style as a whole. Everything about this one shot is so heavily fused with the Jujutsu Kaisen ideas. I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think it would be a crazy bet to make, that Gege hadn't already been prototyping about what Jujutsu Kaisen could be and would be whilst working on this one shot manga. From 2014 to 2016, it's clear that Gege's previous work was not only drastically improving, but it's also clear that Gege was creating great pieces of work from even his first published piece. I think every manga and anime fan can agree that it's important for authors to experiment, as all of these experimentations can usually lead to something much more greater. The year 2017 can be marked as the most important and pivotal moment of the Jujutsu Kaisen series, as this is when Gege released Jujutsu Kaisen 0. This was the first ever mention and showing of the Jujutsu Kaisen world, and it was a prequel to the mainline series, which followed now fan favourite Yuta Akotsu. This manga is important because it not only garnered enough attraction for Gege to be picked up by Shonen Jump, who wanted Gege to publish more, but this manga, which was the first ever time the public got to see and know what the Jujutsu Kaisen universe looked like, garnered a lot of praise and attention from fans and critics. Whilst Jujutsu Kaisen 0 did well enough to be seen by a fair amount of people and allowed fans to see the amazing characters and world, what it really did was lay out a foundation and build a fascinatingly endless world of possibilities for Gege when it came to expanding on a world, and expanding on it they did. 2018 was the year the first ever manga volume of Jujutsu Kaisen's mainline series was released.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
And it garnered a respectable amount of attention relatively quickly. Readers were drawn to these out-of-the-world characters like Gojo, Itadori, and the concept of the world itself. Not to mention the other things such as just a fantastically fast-paced, no-filler nonsense story that immediately got to the point and had many amazing fights. Jujutsu Kaisen in its early stages wasn't unique in the sense of how it structured its plot, as at the end of the day it still very much was a shonen and still is very much a classical shonen. However, it gathered attention because readers very quickly began to fall in love with the character's style and it just being a fresh sort of world with an exciting concept in regard to its powers when compared to other shonen at the time. It's also one thing to note that yet again Gege's art has considerably improved. When looking at the early volumes of the manga and comparing them to again his early work as a whole, it is night and day just how much Gege has improved, not only as a writer, but also as an artist. Not only did Jujutsu Kaisen gain all of this attention for all of those previously mentioned reasons, but the manga also gathered a lot of attention due to Gege's writing style just being so insane. Strictly speaking, Gege during the early stages and even now has no problem making the series go as dark as possible. Gege does not care about normality when it comes to writing, and this is a reason for what has capsulated the show in such an intense way, as the show as a whole is just so unpredictable. Gege being such a ruthless author was really what made the manga, even at the start of the early cycle of Jujutsu Kaisen, really begin to pick up traction, as people were just drawn to this intense way of writing. With all of that being said, Jujutsu Kaisen quickly became a series that started to pop up more and more into online discourses when people were discussing manga. And even during the early stages, a lot of people could tell if and when this show was going to get animated, it was gonna be a big deal. In fact, during the debut year of the series, Jujutsu Kaisen managed to sell an impressive 600,000 volumes, which whilst impressive, again this number was beat in the following year in 2019 as the series managed to sell an insanely remarkable 2.5 million copies. Jujutsu Kaisen's hype and following were growing by the day. Whether people liked it or not, it was clear to other people in the manga community that it was only a matter of time before Jujutsu Kaisen got an anime adaptation, as it was becoming more prevalent in every Reddit regarding manga or anime or any other sort of online forum. That's when in 2019, after the manga series had really started gaining attention, and even now many fans could argue a dedicated following, Shonen Jump announced that the manga was going to be getting an anime adaptation. And this is really where everything began to change for the series and the author. October the 2nd, 2020 was when the first episode of the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen was released. And whilst the anime followed the conventional schedule of an episode a week, it didn't take long for the show to be met with even more high praise from both fan and critic than the manga had ever seen before. Whilst there are no numbers to show how many people were tuning in weekly to watch each episode of Season 1, if you were ever around during the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen, you could just tell, and it was clear that from everything online and everything people were talking about regarding the show, that Season 1 was pulling in fantastic numbers. From getting review scores of 8s, 9s, and even 10s for when Season 1 concluded, Jujutsu Kaisen's anime, without a doubt, transcended what people thought the IP's mainstream appeal could ever be, but how? Firstly, Season 1 and the entire show have been animated by one of the best possible studios when it comes to delivering quality, which is of course Studio Mappa. This is important to bring up because whilst many people were fans of Gege's original artwork and the style from the manga, a common critique of the manga and even now is that often, possibly due to time constraints, Gege's art can be hard to follow or flat out at times just not great. However, Studio Mappa have not only managed to deliver a tremendous, truthful adaptation of the manga, but they have flat out managed to arguably deliver an even better visual experience than the manga has ever possibly managed to do. I mean, it's not uncommon or a hot take to say that whilst we are talking about the early season of Jujutsu Kaisen, Season 2 of the show is one of the best pieces of anime, visually speaking, when explicitly talking about animation, that has come out from the anime medium in a very long time. Also, another reason why the show has managed to just bring the manga to life even more was purely due to the voice acting in Jujutsu Kaisen. This may sound like a funny reason to point to the millions of watchers and attention the show is getting nowadays, however this is really a significant point. When it comes to anime, voice acting can really make or break characters depending on how the performance is delivered by the voice actor. And this is an important thing to bring up because without a damn doubt, every character in this show is voiced perfectly in the series. From Yuji's voice actor to Sukana's, Gojo's, Nanami's, and I mean the list just goes on. The voice acting delivered here has managed to not only bring these characters to life, but now when people go to read the manga or think about these characters, they picture these voices as everyone in the show has just been so perfectly casted, it's absurd. I mean, just listen to some of these performances from the characters in the show.
Nanda.
These performances are so incredible that just hearing these voices in the anime gets people excited when the characters appear on screen. So without a doubt, the incredible gut-wrenching performances have contributed to the show's success, as without the quality of voice acting portrayed here, these characters just aren't as enjoyable and memorable to watch and even listen to. Finally, an aspect of the show that has amplified the title's success is just the fandom around Jujutsu Kaisen. From the fandom just drooling and saying ungodly things about every character in the show,
Gojo videos always coming on my For You page, but not in me or on my face. No lube, no protection, all night, all day, from the kitchen floor to the toilet seat, from the dining room table to the bedroom, from the bathroom sink to the shower, from the front porch.
This is a video of someone just reading out the comments of a Gojo edit like Thirst Trap on TikTok. It's got 30,000 comments. I'm going to stop the video here of the clips. It's 15 minutes. Go over to the channel if you want to read it. We get the point. We get the point! To fans just loving these characters, a massive reason why Jujutsu Kaisen has managed to become so mainstream is due to the fans constantly talking about it and posting memes, content, and anything related to the show online. Even during the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen, the fan love for the characters and the show as a whole really managed to get the attention of people from even outside of the anime community, as the fans of the show were just so loud and passionate, in a good way of course, but they were just incredibly passionate about the anime. I mean, it's become a joke in the community now, but the fandom for Jujutsu Kaisen is just insane, and it is no surprise that when the first season of the anime fully aired, the fandom exploded and attached themselves to the show, as people genuinely love the anime since the show has first aired. However, it's clear from each season that gets released and each year that passes that the Jujutsu Kaisen IP is only getting bigger and bigger. So what is now going to happen with the title, and what's left for the IP? Jujutsu Kaisen is now one of the biggest airing shows currently in the world, with Season 2 having averaged over 6 million views per episode, and that's not accounting for pirating or streaming. That is purely from broadcasting TV numbers in Japan, so that number can at least be doubled, if not tripled. The manga was the second highest selling series in 2023, selling an insane 8.5 million copies like previously mentioned, and it only lost out to Blue Lock, which sold a just gigantic 10.5 million copies in 2023. And even the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie made an impressive nearly 200 million at the box office in its debut year. But with all of that being said and done, what is actually left for the series here in 2024 and onwards? Firstly, if you have just been reading the manga currently, which is insane at the moment, I'm not going to be talking about spoilers or anything, but my god, is the manga just flat out nuts at the moment. We do know one thing, that Gege has confirmed that the manga and series itself is likely going to be concluded here in 2024. Furthermore, we know that the next season of Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be airing in 2025. And whilst there has been some rumours and speculation that it could be airing in 2024, I really just don't want that to happen. As much as I want the new anime to come out, the Studio Mappa workers need a bloody break. But other than that, it's highly likely that Jujutsu Kaisen will be getting multiple spin-offs and or even a game, or just really any other form of media around the IP. Jujutsu Kaisen is currently just so massive, and the show is only going to keep gaining attraction and attention from more people as the new seasons get animated and the show gets concluded. So games, movies, or really anything else you can think of is likely to happen due to the overall commercial success a spin-off could have. We recently had the Jujutsu Kaisen game, and whilst that was just straight up terrible, if a game is done well in the JJK universe, you know that game will not only sell incredibly well, but it will just be a straight up joy to play. I mean, I think I can speak for fans when I say this, but if they just did another fighting game that was actually a good game and not whatever this is.
I can't see. What a dodge. What?
Do not fall.
What the fuck?
Toto.
What just happened?
Then I and everyone else in the community would be playing that game non-stop. But if we take a step back and look at the success and overall impact Jujutsu Kaisen has had on the community, from Gege working on small one-shots to now one of the biggest animes in the world, the rise of this show is nothing to be laughed at. The commercial success of the anime, the movie, the manga, and the merchandise that accompanies it, Jujutsu Kaisen is a show that's come out of nowhere and just done insane numbers. With its fantastic characters, world, and story, and it just really being a unique watch as a whole, the love and community behind this anime just makes it hard to compare to any other show, even if that community and the love that it has is sometimes a little bit scary, you know?
Lord have mercy on my soul, the things I'm about to do while this edit is playing on loop.
And with the manga likely to be crossing the finish line this year, the impact Jujutsu Kaisen has had on the anime community will be talked about for generations, as whilst many argue Jujutsu Kaisen is nothing special or unique, and in a way, that statement is correct. The show's overall success and hype and just quality it has delivered is what has made it so impactful. And really, whether you like it or not, Jujutsu Kaisen is a show that many people inside and outside of the anime community will be talking about for many years, even after it's finished. I originally had something like the usual like, subscribe, comment, share, and all that sort of YouTube language at the end of the script for the outro of this video, and whilst I have no problem doing all that YouTube stuff, I actually wanted to end the video on a much sadder note. During my editing process for this video, an absolute legend and inspiration in the anime and manga medium sadly passed away this week, and that is of course Akira Toriyama. For those who may not know who Akira Toriyama is, he was the author and creator of the Dragon Ball series and just one of the most important individuals when looking at how and why anime and manga is the way it is today. Toriyama inspired just so many people and so many of your favourite authors, and really just laid out a foundation and pillar for the manga and anime medium as a whole. His work touched so many people's hearts, including my own. Whilst admittedly I don't watch Dragon Ball anymore, it was a massive, and I mean huge, part of my childhood. From the show to the fighting games, I mean I can't tell you how many times I pretended to be Goku when I was a kid, and then just proceeded to beat the crap out of my pillow while screaming like Goku. I mean, not only was the man a genius, but from what it seems like, from the reactions of everyone around him, it seems like he was a genuinely loving, caring, and beautiful person who really just managed to inspire so many people to not only better themselves, but also just managed to inspire people to really pull through and get through any hardship they were facing due to the work he was producing, which inspired so many people to keep on going. So may Akira Toriyama rest in peace, and I really hope his family and the loved ones around him affected by his passing manage to find peace.